I'm also fascinated by an additional aspect to this. I was thinking about this as you're watching the fires burn Minnesota to the ground, that there is a tie-in to what we've been going through here the past few months. And I think like we're going to wind up in an area where you lock down a population for 8, 10 weeks, you take 40 million of their jobs away, whether you think it's worth it or not, right? Like you might say this is the worst thing ever. We saved a lot of lives, but like there's an effect of that, as we've talked about. We obviously know the economic effects are there. There are effects with drinking, and there's a potential effect with suicide, which hasn't been shown in the numbers yet, but obviously there's a scare there from people killing themselves, not just from losing jobs, but also from losing relatives, right? Like there's all sorts of things. There's a lot of negative effects about this. And there's a real examination of the data that shows that minority communities have been hit much harder with this than suburban communities, white communities all across America. That's something that's shown pretty clearly in the data, that they're trying to figure out what's going on with that. And you look at this and you say, here now you have a community who is dealing with a terrible incident, one that is unjust, and you also have everybody in the country is filled with angst right now, probably from the police on down. Everybody is pissed off about something. Either a relative has died or lost their jobs. We are in a tinderbox coming out of this thing. Like you don't go into a lockdown like this, and then when people come out, they're all really happy. Gosh, I'm so glad we're able to go out again. I mean, a lot of people will react like that. I certainly have reacted like that. I haven't burned anything down, but you can understand that there would be a heightened tension, right? So these types of events, which do happen, but again, statistically are rare, will wind up setting these things off, I think, more often coming out of this. People are unemployed. They're angry at the country. They're angry at the situation. They're angry at life, man. And there's an increase in alcohol. There's an increase in drugs. There's an increase in, they've talked about domestic violence going up. This is across all communities. And those things all sort of thrown into a tinder. I mean, this could give us a lot of the sort of civil unrest we've worried about for such a long time. And certainly Minnesota is dealing with that right now. And I think there is a tie to people are in a situation where they're already massively uncomfortable for 100 reasons. And something sets you off and things can escalate very quickly. Again, not an excuse. Doesn't mean you don't make judgments. You still need to make rational decisions. But we have a formula here that needs to be really thought carefully about. It's not ideal. It's suboptimal, Pat. Suboptimal.
Yes.